a little high. I always do this wrong. Got to adjust it a little bit. Maybe I'll just point it down a little bit like that. It's okay. Probably a better angle for me anyway. Well, welcome to the big show. I'm super excited. Can everybody hear me all right? I see Ray's already on there. Hi, Ray. How are you doing? If anybody else is online, or Ray, if anybody wants to let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm always deathly afraid that I'm just no one can hear what I'm saying. So be much obliged if you could help me in that regard. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and great, thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about my top 30 games of 2023, and this time we're looking at numbers 20 through 11. Um, so before I do that, a couple of things. I mentioned last time I was talking about new to me games that I played, and I mentioned Cthulhu Death May Die and Heat Pedal to the Metal, both of which Ray helped me with. Thanks, Ray. I also played another game he helped me with. That is Western Legends. I actually played that for the first time the other day. That's another one that's been around for a while, and I just played it. I'll probably have a review for that up before too long. Seems like there were some other games too that I didn't get a chance to play that I wanted to mention, and I can't think of in 2023 that I can't think of them now. But I did mention last time Voidfall is one I wanted to play. I actually just got that in the mail today, so I will. My intention is to have a review up for Voidfall at some point in the weeks to come. So keep an eye out for that one. All right, but let's go ahead now and jump into my list 20 through 11, top 30 games of 2023. My number 20 is a game, and this is a game that I played with Ray and Kim the first time, and it really was a lot of fun. It was a game that GMT game. I said GMT would be represented on this list quite extensively, so this is another GMT title. Uh, but it kind of surprised me how much I liked it because it is fairly abstract. It's kind of a trick-taking game, but this is the Barracks Emperors from GMT. The Barracks Emperors. This game is a lot of fun. It takes place if you played Time of Crisis from GMT, which is a great kind of deck building game about the Roman Empire during the late 3rd century, when they were just going through all these emperors were rising up and trying to claim the purple. So it's during that time period, but you've got this board in front of you with these different spaces where you can play cards, and you're trying to kind of capture the different emperors, and you're playing your cards around them. But these cards have number values, and each number value does different things. But when you place a card on one side of an emperor, it immediately comes into play for somebody else on the other side, and their relation to that emperor. And so it's really fun because you may be trying to surround one emperor, but you actually help someone else surround their emperor. So it's a great puzzle, great fun. This is one of those games kind of took me by surprise how much I enjoyed it. Really liked it. This is the Barracks Emperors. This is my number 20, and this is from GMT Games. All right. And if you've played these games, go ahead, let me know if you like these games. If you didn't like them, let me know. I'm always interested to know what people think about that. Okay. We are looking at my number 19. This was a game that I played. It was a solitaire game that I played earlier this year and just fell in love with it. I recently did my top I did my top 10 solitaire World War II games, and this came in, I think, second. This is Stalingrad: Advance to the Volga, 1942. This is one of my favorite solitaire games. It is you're playing the Wehrmacht and you're trying to advance toward Stalingrad. As you're moving in, it's like you can bring in any number of units. You're using your attack value of one unit and then just adding a +1 for every other unit you bring in. But then you're also having support units. You're having artillery. You're having air power that is used. And as you get further into the game, as you get further and further into the game, it becomes harder to advance, and you need more and more of those support tokens and those support units. The problem is they're less and less likely to be available to you. And so as you're playing the game, as you're moving forward, there's just never enough for everything you want to do. You want to capture all of these spaces, but you just can't. You can capture maybe a fraction of the ones you want to conquer, but you got to try and you push on. I haven't won this one yet. I'm hopeful sometime, but it is a fun adventure. And the designer is actually I think they just came out, or they're just going to come out shortly with kind of a spiritual sequel to this game about I think it's MacArthur in the Philippines, which looks freaking awesome. Can you save up the support tokens? I can't remember if you can from turn to turn. I can't remember if it. I haven't played this for a few months, so I don't remember specifically if you can save the tokens from turn to turn. I don't think you can. I think it's use them or lose them. I don't remember. Maybe they carry over. But anyway, great game, great fun. Manila looks awesome. Stalingrad is fantastic. This is Stalingrad Advance of the Volga 1942. This is from Revolution Games, and it is my number 19. Okay, my number 18, kind of in that same vein, is another solitaire game, Halls of Hegra. Isn't just putting cards in specific order. No, my friend. There's so much more to a solitaire game than just playing cards in a specific order. A lot more. Halls of Hegra is proof of that. So is Stalingrad. In Halls of Hegra, it's actually a worker placement game, but it's a worker placement solitaire war game, which is freaking weird. But essentially, you are Norwegians defending a fort in 1940 from the Nazis who are advancing. But there's all sorts of different things you do. You're trying to essentially repair guns and spaces on your board. You're trying to shovel snow to uncover new spaces that you can then unlock that make things easier for you. There's an infirmary where you go to heal soldiers. There are big guns that you can use to fire at various points of the board. You're sending soldiers out to collect supplies and bring them back through German patrols. You have a wall that the Nazis are trying to get over, and you can shoot them and try to keep them back. And it is incredibly fun. This is really took me by surprise how much I like this one. There is a bit of a learning curve, is a bit of a setup to it. So it's not one that I think is going to hit the table as much as I'd like for those reasons, especially for the setup. But it's still a very good game. It's a solid game. There's a lot of variation too. There's a lot of different event cards and different kinds of event cards that come out. So anyway, good stuff. Trent, good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Anyway, Halls of Hegra. This is from Tompet Games. This is my number 18. Check it out. Okay, my number 17 here. This is another game that I was contacted by the publisher. They asked me if I wanted to take a look at it. And I thought, yeah, okay. I wasn't overly excited to play it. And this is another one that I sat down with Ray and we played this game together. And we both really fell in love with it. This is First in Flight. First in Flight from Artana Games. And this is really cool. This is a kind of a deck building game, but it's also got a rondel, and you're going around selecting actions that you can do. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to advance the furthest on the flight track. You're trying to fly the farthest. And what is so cool here is the cards that you collect. One of the actions you can take on the rondel is to flight, where you can try to fly and beat your record. So you're playing these cards out in front of you. And the planes are advancing, and you play one card and it tells you how far you go, and you play another card tells you how far you go, but then you play these other cards, these like structural defect cards or something like that. And if you play 4 of them, you crash, and there are penalties for that. So what you can do is at any time you can declare that you are going to land. But if you put out your landing card, you still have to draw 2 more cards. So even after you declare you're going to land, there's still that push your luck there. So it's really interesting. But at the whole time, you're getting upgrades, and you're getting kind of various other cards that can assist you and help you. And it's tremendously fun. Again, this is another one that took me completely by surprise. I really wasn't expecting that much from it, and it just wowed me. And like I say, Ray, played it with Ray. He's on there right now. He loved it. I loved it too. First in Flight is phenomenal. If you like deck builders, you like push your luck, this is just a great game. That is First in Flight. That's from Artana, and that is my number 17. All right. What do we got next? We're doing our 16. 16, another one I played with Ray. My 16 is a coin game, and it is The British Way. This is the first coin game I have ever played. I'll tell you right now, GMT recently, they just sent me some other coin games, and when I can probably get in a position to play 4 players, I will play them. But I like this because this is a 2-player game. Oh my goodness, Sonic Hog! Thank you so much. I love the Stash and Beer too. That is so kind of you. Appreciate the super thanks. That means the world to me. That really does. I so appreciate that. So the British way, counterinsurgency at the end of Empire. What this is actually 4 games. There's 4 games in here, and there's different locations around the world that the British Empire, of course, had a foothold in. But after World War II, there's revolutions. They're trying to get the British out. You've got Palestine, you've got Malaya, you've got Cyprus, and you've got Kenya. And so you're essentially, one player is the British player, one player is the insurgents, and you're trying to kind of battle for political supremacy here. But what's cool is each of the games play a little bit different. I think in the first one, it's pretty dice heavy. You're rolling the die on the lot. In the second one, you hardly use dice at all. So it's a pretty great system here, and I'm really looking forward to exploring some of these other coin games because I've wanted to play coin for years, ever since A Distant Plane came out. I never played it. I was always very interested, but I was always kind of intimidated in the system. So I was really glad that they went ahead and they created this. You're getting a little wild with that number 1 coming in with a. Okay, well, thank you, Sir Adam. But the game is just cool, and I like the fact, as I say, that they all play a little bit differently, and I like the fact that it introduced me to the coin system finally after all these years. And I'm looking forward to playing more coin. Like I say, if I can find the players, I'm still looking for players here in the Boise area. So if you're in the Boise Nampa area, let me know and come and play a game with us. So that's the British way. That is GMT games. Again, not the last GMT game you'll see on this list. GMT games, and that is my number. What did we say that we were at? That is my number 16. All right. Alrighty then. So a little too wacky for me. It's great. It's great. Um, yeah, Sonic. That is true. If you're looking to start coin, British Way is awesome. 2-player, and like I said, it's essentially 4 different games in the one box. They have 4 different rule books, 4 different maps. It is a great place to start with the British Way if you're looking to get into coin. Okay, 15. This is a game I played for the first time earlier this year. Now, let me tell you, I was in March, around my birthday. Kim, my girlfriend, and I, we were in Hawaii. We were in Honolulu. And of course, I like to hit a lot of the military sites. And one day we went to the Honolulu Army Museum. It's right there in Waikiki. And we went there, and as we're walking by there, I can't remember what happened. I think Kim went to the bathroom or something I was waiting for. And I'm looking through my phone, and I first saw this game. I thought, oh, that's interesting and appropriate. So I contacted Aries Games. I asked them, they're one of I think they were the distributor. I don't think they created the game. But they went ahead and they sent me a copy of Fighters of the Pacific. Fighters of the Pacific, which is a fantastic game. I love Fighters of the Pacific. It's essentially you're the Americans, the Japanese flying your fighters, but there's also battleships and carriers and islands that you place out there. What is really cool about Fighters of the Pacific, though, is I'm not a fan, generally speaking, of deterministic combat. I don't like just, okay, this happens and this happens. This is how many strength you lose and yada, yada, yada. I like dice. I like cards. I like some engagement with combat. This is deterministic combat. And yet it freaking works. Essentially, you're just trying to line up shots. You've got not just arcs, but spaces that you can actually fire. And what's cool here is you're trying to keep your planes in formation. You're trying to keep them touching, because if your planes actually get out of formation, you lose initiative. And you want initiative. You want to make those decisions about timing, and you lose that if you've got too many kind of separate groups of your planes. You're all over the place. It really rewards you for keeping in formation. And what's cool here too is you have elevations. You've got kind of like high altitude and low altitude, and you just flip it over, and it's a color, white or blue. And it matters, because part of maintaining formation is you have to stay at the same altitude. But this is just a great game. I really like it. You got a kind of a hex map of the ocean here. It's really a super lot of fun. And there's a lot of different scenarios. different kinds of missions you can fly in this. Kim and I really enjoyed this game. It's super fun. That is Fighters of the Pacific. So distributed by Ares. Don't Panic Games and Capsicum Games, I guess, are the creators here. But that is Fighters of the Pacific. That is number 15. Okay. Oh, let's see. British Way. Oh, Ray, British Way is a great game to start with coin. It is about the easiest to learn from. The nice thing is all 4 games play different, so it is a 4 games in one. Exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, initiative is cool there, Rob. Adam, I haven't played that game, but I saw some people talk about it. It looked interesting, but I agree with you. I like the luck of dice. I do too, but don't let that scare you here, man. The combat in Fighters of the Pacific is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Check it out. Um, yeah, we'll have to play that sometime, Rob. We'll definitely hit that one. And Fighters of the Europe, that does look good. I'm excited for that one. We'll see how if that's as good as the other one when it comes out. Okay, where are we at? 14. So 14 is a game that it's a sequel to another very, very popular game that came out years ago. And well, I'll tell you, it's Stonemare Games. It is Expeditions. This is the sequel to Scythe. It is a sequel to Scythe, and I got to tell you, I really, really, I liked Scythe. I thought Scythe is a fun game, but I never loved Scythe. I never thought Scythe was just this super amazing experience, like a lot of people did. I thought it's a good game. It's a solid game. If I was somewhere and they said let's play it, I'd play it. First time I played Scythe, I really wasn't impressed with it, but then I played it a few more times and I really came to enjoy it. But as I say, I never fell in love with it. So this came out, and I felt like too with Scythe, one of the things that really sold Scythe was the uh, artwork and kind of the novelty of it, and the kind of the theme of it, which is great. But I never fell in love with it. And they announced Expeditions, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll probably like it. I'll probably enjoy this game. I'll tell you right now, I like it considerably more than Scythe. I like Scythe. I think I might love Expeditions. And I love one of the reasons why I love Expeditions is because I've only played it at the 2-player count and as a solitaire game. I think it'd play well with 3. I think if you got up to 4 or 5, I might not be too wild about it. But in the games I've played, it's played well both as a 2-player and it's played very well as a solitaire. And they're both fun and they're very different in a lot of ways. But I like this game because it just seems to have all of these. First of all, you got the cool mechs. I got the thing upside down here, which really bothers me. You've got the really cool mech figures. You got this board that you kind of create that's kind of weird here with the openings where you put the cards in between. And it's just the whole package is so unusual and different, but it plays so well. But what I like is how you do your action selection in this game. You've got a card and you got a cube that you kind of there's 3 different actions you can take. You can move, you can kind of take what you want from the uh, board, the location you're at, and you can I can't remember the third action right now, but you can do the 3 actions, and what you can do is as you take one action, you can go ahead and the essentially you put your cube on one of the actions that you can't do. So you can do the other actions. You can always do 2 actions per turn, but there's always one that's locked to you. But then you get to a point where you kind of reset everything. You have to clear everything, and then for that one turn, you can do all 3 actions. But it's a really good, it's really fun uh, fantasy steampunk adventure. Like I say, for me, I like it a lot more than Scythe. Scythe's great, but I like Expeditions a lot more than Scythe. Super fun. This is actually the first game I played when I came here to Idaho. So yeah, Kim and I played this. This arrived like within a week of when I got to Idaho, and this is I think the first game I played here. At least the first new review game I played. I may have played some older games, but I think I played this one. This is my first new game here in Idaho. Anyway, that's Expeditions. That is my number. What do we say we're at? That is my number 14, and that is from Stonemare Games. Great game there. Oh, let's see. Expeditions, great pick. Expedition is a great solitaire mode. It is. It is awesome. Scythe was good, but the map is too much of a mirrored arena. Okay, fair enough. I do love the aesthetic of Scythe, something I'd like to see transferred to cinema. I agree. It's a great, the idea of Scythe is a great, like I say, so much of, I think, what makes Scythe work is its theme because it's so freaking cool. I really, really like that quite a bit. Um, I have heard that Expeditions is a better solo, but I've not played it yet. Yeah, well, you can borrow it from me, Ray, if you want, because it's really a lot of fun. I really like Expeditions quite a bit. Trying to now it's bugging me because I just played it not too long ago, and now I'm trying to think. You can move, you can take the stuff. I'm trying to think of the third action. I can't think of it. All right, let's go ahead now. We're at number 13. Okay, number 13. This is a game that honestly, when I first heard about it, I really had no interest in. Just did not. The theme didn't thrill me, and I didn't really know too much about mechanically how it worked. But the theme itself just didn't thrill me because it's got kind of a nature theme. And generally, I'm not a fan of nature themes. I mean, I've played some that I've liked, but they're just not among my favorite games. But I saw it on everybody's like top 10 of 2023, everybody's top 10 just a few weeks ago. And I reached out to the company, they sent me one like that. So I played this game, played it for just the first time last week with Ray. I just played it 2 player, and I freaking fell in love with it. This is Oath. Oath. I'll have my full review come out before too long, but I really, really like Earth. I really like Earth. I really like what I like about it is, as I say, it's a nature game. It's based on kind of nature and what have you. But the idea of the game is it's got the same kind of basic DNA structure in a lot of ways as some of my favorite games of Machikoro and Space Base. Meaning, when it is not your turn, somebody else will do something that will allow you to take an action. So you're always paying attention because you never know what somebody else is going to choose. And so you're building these like card tableaus, and these cards have all these abilities. So somebody chooses one of 4 actions or 4 actions. Somebody chooses one of those actions, and then uh, you can take like a lesser action. But then everybody also gets a chance to do kind of that color. If you have that color on any of your cards, you get to do that. And so um, you're growing plants that like physically grow. You've got these little plastic things where you're growing the plants on your cards. You're putting cubes on your cards that are kind of currency you can bank and spend, and they're worth points at the end of the game. At the same time, as you're doing all this and you're activating these things on your cards, you're chasing these kind of global, what do you call them? Global events, global rewards. And the first person that gets there gets so many points, and then subsequent players get subsequent points there. Really a lot of fun. It's a race, and essentially whoever creates their tableau, it's a 4x4 tableau. Whoever places their 16th card, that ends the round, and then you go back and you count up all your points. And there's just so many fun and interesting ways to score points in this game. It was so much more fun than I originally thought it would be. I actually freaking love this game. I'm excited. I want Kim to play this one. I hope to play it with her before too long because I think she'll get a kick out of it. And I like to say, I've only played it with Ray, 2 player. I suspect this game is probably better with a higher player count. It plays up to 5, and my suspicion is when you're playing with more players and those events trigger for everybody, I think that's going to be freaking awesome. So I really, really like Earth, and I hope one day to play it at a higher player count. Freaking love this game, Earth. It is from Inside Up Games, and that is my number 13. Okay, moving right along here. Do, 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 do. What did you say here? When you play solitaire, do you mean solo play? Yeah, yeah, it's essentially what I mean there. It's crazy. You got so much influence. Companies just give you games for free. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Tom Vazel addressed that once, and he said something pretty interesting. He said, "You look, if you're looking to get more games, and you're thinking you want to become a reviewer to get more games, okay. But just know that for the amount of time and work you put into a channel like this, you could get another job, another part time job, and with the money you make there, buy more games and then still have money left over. So yeah, I do get free review copies from a lot of companies, not all companies, and I buy a lot of the games I review. But ah, but I do get a lot of review copies from companies, um, and that's cool. I really like that. I probably give away or donate well more than half because I can't keep them all. In the long run, I probably donate quite a few more, give to friends, or donate quite a few more than that. But anyway, yeah, I need to get into this niche. You do indeed, Adam. Let's see. Nice. My wife and I play Earth. I hope the expansions have insects. Ooh, yeah, that'll be good. I like that. Earth didn't appeal to me as I generally don't like real photo assets being used in the game, but the gameplay is so solid and fluid, you get past it. Yeah, yeah, top 10 game. It's so much fun. It's great. Let's see. Michael, Earth is awesome. I really like the tableau and how it goes left, right, top to bottom. I do too. I think it's so cool because it's so important where you place those cards. It's not just a matter of putting them down. I actually had one. I had kind of blindly put down 3 cards in a row, and then I got another card that says, score this symbol in every card in that row. I looked down. I just already happen to have 3 cards of that symbol. So bam, I planted that there and got a bunch of points for it. It's great. It's so much fun how that works there. Um, Let's see. Frankie, enjoy your channel. Thanks so much for what you do. Thank you. I appreciate it. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Okay, Earth is ripe for expansions. You're right, Ray. It is. Let's move on. My number 12. Okay. This is a game, another game that comes from a family of games that I love. I actually mentioned another game in this family a little bit earlier. Another game in this family that came out a little bit earlier. And They arrived with a Kickstarter at the same time, but 2 separate games in the same family of games. And the first one that I already mentioned last time is already in my big box there, but this one is the DC Comics deck building game Injustice. This is the Kickstarter edition. But I love the DC Comics deck builder game. This is a 4-player version of it. And what I like about this, and what is different about this is probably the meanest version of the DC Comics deck building game you'll play. Now, all DC Comics deck building games have like attack; you can attack other players. This game is all about attacking other players. Now, the Injustice storyline, I actually watched um, the cartoon on HBO that they did of it, where essentially Superman becomes a totalitarian tyrant. Lois Lane is killed in an explosion, and so he essentially kind of enforces the law, and he puts him at odds with Batman and other heroes. So in the game, you're really just going after each other, and you have these like power meters, and you can power up to play a special card, but you're just constantly attacking each other, and it's so much fun. It's really a different way. It's almost a game about as much as screwing over everyone else as it is advancing your own points and your own agenda there. Really liked. Well, I love the theme. I love DC Comics deck building games generally, and this one is just absolutely fantastic. I love, love, love the DC Comics deck building game Injustice. If you haven't played any of the DC Comics deck building games, you really should. They're just solid and fun deck builders. And this one is one of my favorites. So that is the DC Comics deck building game Injustice Gods Among Us. And that is from Cryptozoic Entertainment. That is my number 11. Yeah, the live action. Yeah, Adam says I wish the live action were as good as the cartoons. There, I agree. I really agree with you. Really quick, I want to address something I saw earlier and I forgot about it. Somebody asked me to kind of that they said they want to kind of contrast Fighters of the Pacific with Undaunted Battle of Britain. Stay tuned. All right, so my last one, my number one, pardon me, my number 11 of 2023 games, the last game on this list tonight. Well, this is a game that, again, I played recently. We played a 3-player game. Ray was there, and it is a horror game. It's got a horror theme, but it's kind of a comic, and it's certainly a comic book horror theme. It's a game that is fun and silly, and yet it is a cooperative game that is desperate. You're working together, try to figure things out. I know Ray really liked it, and it's on my list for sure. This is the Plum Island Horror. Again, I should have a review up for this in a few weeks. Looking forward to it. This game is absolutely fantastic. It's Herman Luttman design, great game designer. Maybe we haven't seen the end of him on this list. But Plum Island Horror is just astounding. It's just fantastic. Essentially, you have factions. You have different factions. Like one's an athletics team, one is like the National Guard. One is uh, the police, the constabulary. So you have all these different factions. So the players each choose a faction, and each faction has about I think 5 characters that you're playing in the game. And so you're moving around essentially the island, Plum Island, which is grid, kind of mostly grid spaces. And you've got at the end of the board where the Plum Island, I don't know what it is, laboratories explode, and these monsters, these horrors, essentially zombies, but we just call them horrors. They start coming down these grid spaces, and they're trying to advance. So you're trying to hold them back because what the point of the game is, you've got civilians, you got all these civilians everywhere, and you're trying to escort the civilians off of the board. You're essentially trying to get them to the docks where they can fly out or across the bridge. Um, so there's different ways you're trying to move the citizens of Plum Island off the board. And as I say, it's just tremendous fun. It's great and it's silly. You get these events that pop up, and they're almost like I say, almost these comic book events that are going on, and they can really screw you over. You're trying to, I think, get 26 points worth of civilians off the board, but there's a lot of ways you can lose. You've got an overrun track. You can be overrun by the horrors. There's I think if all your characters die, well, one person's characters die, I think you're out. There's a lot of different ways you can lose, but it's just fun. But if there's dice combat, you're rolling dice, and the dice are not that strong. It's like there's a lot of half hits, so you got to roll 2 half hits to actually hurt somebody. But every hit destroys one horror. But then you get these stacks of horrors that are just coming after you. It is fantastic. Fantastic. Great game. And it's like from GMT. Who knew, right? Who knew GMT was going to come out with a horror game? Now, this has been on my radar since it first appeared on the P500 list about, I don't know, what, a year and a half ago. I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They're doing this horror game. GMT, of course, is known for you know, kind of more serious fare, war games, and kind of heavy political games and these sorts of things. And so I was really excited to see them take a stab at the horror genre. They've done some good science fiction games like Space Empires 4X and Talon are amazing science fiction games, and others. Space Core was great, but and they may have done a horror game in the past, but I don't remember it. And I freaking love this game. This is such a good game, and I hope we see more from this genre here. Like I say, it's a silly, fun, cooperative game that really has you on edge. It's a great puzzle. So this is the Plum Island Horror. This is from GMT Games, and that is my number 11. I was going to put it at 21. It's my number 11 for 2023. All right, so let's see. I like to get into wargaming, but I'd like to start with something more casual. Is there anything you would recommend for wargaming? Probably the best casual war games today on the market are Memoir 44, which has been around for maybe nearly 20 years now. That's a very good light introduction, a commands and color system game. Or the Undaunted series. Undaunted Normandy is probably a great place to start, or Battle of Britain, or even North Africa. The Stalingrad's good, but it's a campaign. It's a little more involved. But seriously, those are some of the great intro games. In fact, I did a top 10 intro war games list just a few weeks ago. So if you look back on my channel, you'll find the top 10 introductory war games, and hopefully that'll help you out a lot there. So I hope that'll help. What about Dune? I don't know. What about Dune? Stay tuned. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, who knew GMT can do it, right? Right. GMT proving they can do anything. Indeed, I love GMT. Adam says, I know GMT is the GOAT. Maybe. They're great. I got to tell you something. When I first started reviewing, I was actually working for a newspaper, or writing for a newspaper. And GMT was one of the first companies I reached out to for a review copy. And I was interested in reviewing Space Empires 4X. And like that, they sent it to me. And GMT has been nothing but cool to me. Whenever I've asked for something that as long as it was in print, they're more than happy to send it to me. And they're just quality people there. And one of the fellows that I've worked with there for over a decade now, Tony, I think he's just retiring. And I got to tell you, I got a little teary eyed. He's such a good guy. He was always really good to me. And I was very sad to see him go. But I still look forward to this relationship with GMT because the company seems to just keep getting better and better and better, as we'll see in subsequent episode. All right, all right. So that's it. That's my top 30 of 2023, 20 through 11. We'll be here tomorrow again at 7 p.m. to bring you my top 10, and I'll have a little bit of a surprise for you tomorrow night when we go live. So with that in mind, we're done, and I boxed myself into a corner here, literally with boxes, but pay no attention as I push the finish button. Bye-bye now.